So welcome to another weekly edit. In my last video I went to Wheal Peevor and I was trying out my NiSi freestop graduated magnetic filter that I said about getting at the photography show. So yeah, I did get one. I've been testing it out, and overall, yeah, I think it's definitely usable. There's some situations where I don't think it'd be that practical. For those that are not sure about what a graduated filter is, it's how well it will come across in the video, but it's free stop. So at the very top it'll be free stops darker in terms of the amount of light that it's letting into the lens, but it's graduated, so it's not free stop say here in the middle. It's a transition down, particularly useful for landscapes, skies, where it's brighter in the sky down to the land. You can transition it. So I was taking a shot of a tin mine, so this one here, and what I want to show in this video is how to try and fix some of that, because one of the downsides of these filters is if you've got a perfectly flat horizon, so if you're shooting a seascape, if you're just shooting straight out to the horizon, then this filter is absolutely perfect, because you can just pop it on and your horizon will be bang in the middle, no problems. But where it can be an issue is where you've got something coming up into this graduated area, like in this instance a tin mine. But overall, actually, I've been pleased with the filter. I don't think it's given me a bad result at all, and it's a relatively easy fix. Now you could say, well, why not just bracket your shot at the time? Could do, and I do lots of bracketing, but that depends how quickly your sky is moving as well, because if you do have a quickly moving sky, even if you do a quick succession of exposures, if the cloud's slightly drifted, when you come to do a HDR merge, you can sometimes get some artifacts, or if branches are moving on trees between shots, that can sometimes have an issue with the merging. Could manually just take a shot for the sky, shot for the foreground, and blend them together like we have done in previous weekly edits. But the other benefit of using the filter is I can see what I'm getting in the camera. I don't have to pre-visualize, well, if I put this sky shot with this foreground shot, what's my final output going to look like? I can use the filter, I can see in camera the end result to a degree. So with this edit, what basically I want to do, I've already applied my lens corrections, but if we just go into our basic panel, let's just start how we normally start. So sky's a little bit bright over here, so we'll just pull the highlights down a touch, let's lift the shadow detail up, because lots of shadow detail to get up. And I don't know how well it's going to come across over in the video, but what I'm saying about the filter is effectively the top of the tin mine is darker than the bottom, because the filter, if I take a linear gradient, the filter is effectively doing that. So it's blocking out more light here than it is down here. So, the top of the tin mine is darker than the bottom. So I'm just going to correct that slightly. And you can, again, I don't know how well it's coming across in the video. It's very minor. In fact, I'm really quite pleased with how the filter's done. So, but to fix it, if I just take a linear gradient and do that, so what I'm looking at is I want to brighten the exposure slightly on the tin mine, more at the top than I do at the bottom. So I'm taking a linear gradient. Probably don't need to affect the bottom too much at all, actually, and do the top. Well, now you're saying, well, you're affecting the sky, so, which I don't want to do, obviously. So if I go to subtract sky, and I don't know how well you can see this on the video, but the mask now, anything that's white is being impacted, or we can see it as the red on here. So a little bit on the trees, top of the tin mine, that's fine, because the filter was coming down onto the trees as well, so they would be darker. And now I can just gently lift the exposure on the top of the tin mine. Doesn't need a lot, but I'm just looking to even the exposure out across the tin mine, which there looks pretty good. Might have to come back to the mask as I play with other sliders, But overall, pretty pleased with that. This image, I don't think it needs an awful lot kind of doing to it. You know, it's quite pleased with how it's come out. Spent a bit of time getting it right in camera. So I'm going to go back into my masks. I'm just going to do create new mask, select sky. Just going to pull the sky down a touch more, because there's more detail to be gotten out of that sky. And a little bit of dehaze, not too much. Like that. While I'm here, I'm going to take another mask. So the sun was setting off to camera right. You can see where it's brighter over here. And my eye is just, I want it to be drawn to the tin one, and it is kind of getting drawn over to this area here. So I'm going to, how should we do this? Might do several ways to do it, as anything with these tools. I'm going to do another sky selection, but I'm going to subtract a linear gradient, something like that. So I'm only doing this part of the sky, but a very kind of soft transition across. Might have to tinker with the mask, and then just pull the exposure down on that area of the sky, something like that. Probably gone a little bit too far because it's starting to look a little bit muddy. Yeah, somewhere like that. While I'm in the mask, because I want to make a bit more of this kind of path, so I'm going to try, this could go horribly wrong, but I'm going to try an object selection and just square brackets to make my brush bigger or smaller. Just going to brush over this path. I don't know how this is going to work. Hopefully it's going to roughly select the path. Something like that. Detecting objects. Yeah, pretty good. Probably don't want to brighten this bottom left hand corner, because I don't want your eye being drawn out of the frame. So again, subtract, linear gradient, and I'm just going to take a little bit away from that corner, like that. Again, maybe even a little bit here, so subtract, linear gradient, somewhere like that. And then I can just gently lift the exposure. It's a little bit harsh edge around here a little bit with the way the object selection selected it. So again, I'm going to subtract. I'm going to take a brush. I'm going to make sure my brush has got a nice soft feather on it, which it has. Square brackets to make it a little bit smaller. And I'm just going to try and soften that edge a little bit. It looks a little bit more natural. Yeah, something like that. Let's just tinker with the exposure. Yeah, something like that. While I'm here, I am going to do a vignette, because I do like a vignette. So Option apostrophe to invert my mask. Command Option 0 just to make it, oh, that's 100%. I want to fit my image. Oh, move my mask now. Something like that. Not too much. Somewhere like that. So let's just have a look where we sort of were, where we are now. So backslash, that's where we started. That's where we are now. Yeah, pretty much there, I think. Just a little bit of texture. Tiny bit of clarity. And then a bit of sharpening to finish off with. So tin mine was my focal point, so I'm going to make sure that's sharp. Again, 80, 90 mark seems to work pretty good. Hold Option key down on the mask, and anything that's black we don't want to sharpen. so I don't want to sharpen the sky, so somewhere around there. Yeah, job done. So yeah, let me know what you think. Been very impressed with these filters. Not just the graduated. I started with a kit that was a circular polarizer, a 3-stop, 6-stop and a 10-stop, and then I've added this filter separately. But I've been really impressed with the filters. If you do watch the video from Wheal Peevor, also did a long exposure using either the 6-stop or the 10-stop. It was about 80 seconds because the cloud was moving quite quickly. That came out quite nice, really pleased, but very little colour cast on the filters, so that makes life a lot easier. But yeah, I've been really impressed with them. They're easy to sort of stack up as well, being magnetic. So yeah, very impressed with them. So yeah, as usual, I'll put before and after up. Let me know in the comments what you think. And until next time, look after yourselves. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.